So how do color blindness glasses work to help people who are colorblind see color? Great question, I'd love to tell you. So first we need to understand how color vision works in the eye. This graph shows the sensitivity of 3 different photoreceptors. We call them cones, and they're sensitive differentially to short, medium, and long wavelengths. And wavelength is what we interpret as the color of any light coming in. So let's say some light comes into our eye that's around 590 nanometers. See here? When that light comes in, our eye figures out that it's 590 by comparing how much this photoreceptor in the middle, the one we call green, but just medium wavelength is set off, compared to how much the long or red wavelength sensor is set off. And it looks at those two comparative strengths and says, this is light of this wavelength coming into our eye with a certain intensity, a certain brightness. But what happens in colorblind individuals is typically one of these 3 receptors, most commonly this middle or green one, but second most commonly the red one, gets shifted. Specifically, it gets moved closer to the neighboring one. So in the case of green, it moves a little bit over closer to the red one. That's called Deuter anomaly, and it's the kind that I have. Well, now what happens is if that same wavelength of light comes in, you can see that the 2 receptors are set off more similarly. They're no longer different as much in how much they're set off by that light, and so now my brain starts to get confused. It can't tell the difference between that wavelength of light and maybe another one that's nearby and also setting those receptors off in the same way. What color blindness glasses do is they actually filter out the little slivers of wavelengths that are most confusing most often, specifically around 580 to 590 nanometers, as well as 480 to 490. So by removing the confusing colors, all that's left are colors that the eye can tell apart more easily. And this is also, by the way, why these glasses won't help someone pass a color blindness test, because those tests very specifically check these zones of ambiguity and see how you respond, and you're just filtering them out, not making them work like a normal vision person. Hope that helps. Glad to answer any other questions.